Plaintiff Stacy Sheridan dated the defendant, despite the fact the defendant is 12 years younger. Stacy claims one night she and the defendant got into a heated argument, and he pushed her, punched her, and even took a steak knife and destroyed her $550 Chanel shoes. Stacy's suing for the damaged property and emotional distress. Defendant Eric Lund says he was hesitant to start a relationship with Stacy because of the age difference and the fact that she had 2 children. Eric admits that he damaged Stacy's shoes, but adamantly denies assaulting her, and he's countersuing for a rental truck and a security deposit.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Well, Your Honor, I met Eric in the summer of '07, July of '07, at my friend Megan's barbecue. So we hit it off. We had a great time despite our age difference of 12 years.
That night?
Yes.
He hit it that night?
No.
You're pretty good.
No, we didn't.
That's what you said.
We hit it off. We were talking, we were having a good time.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Different cultures where I come from, when you say he hit it that night.
Oh, we hit it.
That means something in your culture too, from where you come here. Maybe it's universal when you...
So, we liked each other. We started seeing each other on a regular basis, despite what my family thought because of the age difference. And his family had said, he likes to party a lot, which at that time I didn't really think was a problem because we were having fun. And I kind of went with it.
You partied a lot with him.
We partied a lot together, but things were good. And we had some disputes about the age difference and that I had 2 children.
How did the disputes come about?
Well, he was just not ready to be in a committed relationship because he thought the age difference was an issue. So
what did he think was an issue about it?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him, Your Honor.
The problem that I had was not the commitment. It was just the fact of the age difference, the 12-year difference, the kids that were involved. She had older children, and it's just something that I didn't foresee for myself at that time.
You didn't know it when you started hitting it off?
No, I mean, I knew that, I knew of her age, I knew of her 2 kids. I just, I had doubt that it just wouldn't work between us because we might have been on 2 different levels.
Okay.
Because of the age difference, the kids.
Gotcha.
I wanted to be in a relationship, brand new. Someone closer to my age.
What did you say? Nightly. You wanted to be in a relationship nightly, Doyle said. And she wanted a committed relationship.
Yes.
All right, so.
So, in March of 2008, that was a bad month for us. We were arguing a lot. There was a lot of family issues that started getting brought to the table, arguments with me, his sister, his cousins. We were trying to work out as friends. He kept stepping in the middle of it. He at first was on my side. Something switched and snapped. I'm not sure what it was, but on March 27th of '08, we got into an extremely violent and aggressive argument. The police were called out one time to tell us to be quiet because we were very loud. He was cussing, yelling, and I said, okay, let's be quiet. Later that evening, he wouldn't stop. He kept continuing to irritate me, agitate me, started shoving me, was, telling me my son was retarded. He's not. He has ADHD.
That's not true.
That is true. I have a statement. It is true. We fought, and I retreated to my bedroom, locked myself in the room, was on the phone with his cousin, and I said, I'm getting really scared. He's being really aggressive. She said, should I call the police? I said, let's just wait. Maybe he'll leave. Well, he ended up breaking into my bedroom door, and he grabbed my cell phone, hung it up, threw it, punched me in the head numerous times till I fell back on the bed.
Your Honor, can I address that, please?
Let her finish.
Was hitting me all over. And in my defense, I bit him on the arm, and I ran away from him as fast as I could to the front door, where he blocked me and he wouldn't let me leave. He was sorry. He wanted to talk to me. And I said, leave me alone. And I ran to the patio door and he blocked me again. At some point, I had ended up on the floor.
At some point, you should have ran to the kitchen.
I was going through. Well, Your Honor, you're right. He beat me to it, and he ran to the kitchen, and he grabbed a steak knife, and he destroyed my Chanel shoe.
He ran and grabbed the knife.
Yes. And he slashed it with a steak knife several times, ruining my Chanel shoes, which I don't make a lot of money, Your Honor. My mother bought those for me as a gift. I have her statement to the cost of the shoes, which were $550. He was arrested and charged with assault with great bodily harm.
Sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said you wanted to say something?
Yeah, Your Honor. I enlisted in the military in 2001. I spent 5 years in the Army, 1 year overseas in Iraq. I was honorably discharged in 2006. The plaintiff and I met on the summer of 2007 at a barbecue, like I said, at one of my cousin's barbecues at the residence of the plaintiff.
Why are you telling me all this about your service? She looked like Saddam to you?
No, absolutely not. No, just giving you a little background. We met at the barbecue. You know, we hit it off. We got along. We started talking. Eventually, it progressed from there. We started hanging out. I started spending a lot of time at her house with her and her children. During the meantime, I was uneasy about the relationship from the get-go because of the age difference and the two children that were involved. You know, but for the most part, we got along. We were out doing things. We were having a good time.
Except for that night. And other incidences that happened afterwards.
Although, you know, at the beginning of the relationship, I mean, there was a lot of drinking, a lot of partying going on, you know, more than there should have, which, you know, led to arguments.
Were you all drunk the night this happened, ma'am?
Yes, we both were.
He was extremely intoxicated.
How about you?
4 beers from 6 p.m. until, 2 a.m.
We both were drinking pretty heavily that night. And if I recall, the plaintiff also was on some prescription pills. I'm not exactly sure what kind.
Not at that time, Your Honor.
Tell me what happened. Let's go to that
Yes, Your Honor. You know, it was a regular night for us. We were drinking. It was a weekend. You know, we're out drinking. We're at her house. And, you know, this all started between an argument between the plaintiff and my family, namely my 2 cousins and my sister. I don't know what they were arguing about.
They were at the house?
It was on the phone. They were on the phone, and there was an argument between the plaintiff and
Go ahead. Then what?
And then, you know, it escalated. Things got heated. You know, there was drinking going on, and I acknowledge cutting her Chanel shoes.
Did you assault her? Hit
Your Honor,
her
Your Honor,
repeatedly in the head?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
You never hit her?
I have a police
Hold
report.
on. You never hit her?
There was pushing and shoving between the both of us
Did
going
you
on.
hit her?
No, Your Honor.
What do you have?
He did hit me, sir. I have.
And
the
did
police
he
report.
tell the police that? Has he ever admitted hitting you?
He said he put his hands on me and he was grabbing at my shoulder.
He never admitted hitting
He
you?
did not
Did you
admit.
have any noticeable scars where he would have hit you? Didn't you say he hit you in your head several times?
He did. It was in
Did
my
you have
head.
a knot on your head?
I had a concussion, sir. I was in the hospital. He put me in the hospital. I had a concussion.
Did she go to the hospital?
Your Honor, that's what I heard. That's what I found out later
It's
on.
in there.
But I'm, you know.
I also have pictures of him throwing food all over my house. As I was locked in my bedroom, Your Honor, he said that he was going to mess up my house.
Ma'am, let me see your doctor's report.
The doctor's report is in with the police report, Your Honor.
I then spoke with the doctor who evaluated her. He stated that Sheridan came into the emergency room with bruises on her arms and complaining of dizziness. The doctor stated that he was going to diagnose her with post-concussion. What else, sir?
Your Honor, I was charged with a domestic assault. Throughout the case and my proceeding before I went to court, you know, the plaintiff and I were still talking, you know. We knew that this was an isolated incident.
What do you want to tell me? What happened?
You know,
You're saying this to say what? Because you've been proven to have beaten her in the head to a concussion. So what is your point?
I'm just saying, you know, I was charged with a domestic assault, you know, and throughout the process, it was dropped down to disorderly. I mean, because it's over-exaggerated.
No, it's not. That's called a plea bargain. And that's what you do when you're scared you'll be convicted. So instead of taking the risk of a conviction, you take a plea bargain because you knew there was enough evidence to convict you for what you did to this woman. What security deposit and emotional distress are you suing him for?
I am suing for my $925 security deposit, Your Honor, because due to his actions, I had to vacate the premises where we had lived together.
Your Honor, that's not true.
What else?
I have the cost of the shoes, if you want to see that, the statement from the cost of the shoes. And the
How much for emotional distress?
Emotional distress, Your Honor, is throughout the entire relationship. He would continue.
You better stick with that event, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm not granting you anything for you all getting drunk and arguing all the time.
I miss work, Your Honor.
That's
I was
enough, ma'am.
embarrassed.
Just say a concussion.
He beat me, yes, into a concussion. Yes, Your Honor.
Your counterclaim for a rental truck and a security deposit is for what, sir?
Your Honor, when we decided to split mutually, we both agreed that this relationship was not working and wasn't beneficial to us.
No.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes. Your Honor, and what I was going to say is, Your Honor, so what I wanted to say was, since we decided to split mutually, I made the decision to say that I need to move out. I need to get away from this. We both do. This is not helping. So I decided that I would, talk to my landlord from my previous place to get in there as soon as I could. The plaintiff was informed of how fast this process was going. So I don't see why I should be responsible for the same costs that I incurred. I had to put down a deposit. I had to rent a truck, same as she did. And this thing was mutual. There's no agreement. There was no lease. There was no verbal, no written. I'm in the same boat.
It was due to your bad behavior and bad actions.
Quiet, ma'am. Show me evidence of your
This is when we're in the house.
Sir, show me evidence of your concussion. I'll dismiss her claim and I'll grant you everything
Your Honor,
you want.
I don't have evidence
I know
of a
you
concussion.
don't. You caused all of this. You would not have had to get a rental truck, a new security deposit, or nothing else had you not pled guilty to a related crime. Your judgment is everything you've asked for. $3,473. You certainly suffered from emotional distress. And yes, you did have damaged property and you did have to move based upon his assault and having to abandon the premises. $335 is dismissed, sir. Please join the military and go after one of the enemies, all right? And beat them if you're not too scared. Have a good day.
I apologize, it was a bad incident for the both of us. We both know it was an isolated incident, and I just hope that we can move on from this.
I would really like for you to get some other additional help for drinking and to move on with your life.